Jayson Tatum opens up about being benched at the Olympics, and maybe he won't go back to Team USA. Let's talk about it right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster brand, it's holiday season. Drop Drew in the mix. And 3 from KP, no, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Juice, still Beantown's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in locked on after. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and Jace, how it started, raising banners, how we finish. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast. It's right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. I got you covered Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 days a week for the rest of August. For most of September, Celtics training camp's going to open a little earlier than it usually does because they're going to be in Abu Dhabi playing the Nuggets. So we'll be back to 5 days a week pretty quickly. Either way, it's more podcasting than you're going to find anywhere else. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. Hop into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm John Karalis. If you're new to the show, used to play a long time ago. Now I'm a beat writer covering the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. I'm also the author of a couple of Boston Celtics books, including Built Different, which is a commemorative book celebrating Banner 18. Find that wherever you get your books, online and in stores all over New England. So go check that out. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase of last-minute tickets. USA wins gold. They do it in, it was a tight game against France. They did it with a little help from Jayson Tatum. He played. No Derek White, but I think it might have been more of a thumb issue there for him. But Tatum afterwards kind of opened up a little bit, said a lot of interesting things. So I'm bringing an interesting person who says interesting things.
Yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. It's Tom.
No.
Gotcha.
Got me. Well, I mean, you really got, I thought you were, I also thought you were bringing somebody else on. I was excited to talk to him, but yeah, I'll do my best.
Let's. So USA wins gold. Ultimately, this is it's all gonna go away pretty quickly. I do think the motivation thing, which we'll touch on later on, and that's going to be something that I think lingers for Tatum and for Jaylen Brown. I don't know. I feel like we did see kind of like the end of an era with USA basketball.
Yeah.
One of my takes from the whole tournament was like, okay, if we're going to give Steve Kerr a pass, let's just take what he said at face value and say it was a math thing. Well, then don't have Jayson Tatum as your potential math guy. Halliburton even. Don't have the math cut Tatum and Tatum and Halliburton. Bring Herb Jones, bring Alex Caruso, bring like high level 3-and-D guys that you can plug in and maybe. Okay, if Herb Jones sits, he's like, okay, KD had it going, and we're not going to go to the 3-and-D guy. We didn't need him, but you can plug him in. And you could kind of use him a little bit more sparingly. I think the construction of Team USA is going to change, and I think the Jayson Tatum stuff is kind of going to be a flashpoint for Team USA to look at how they construct the team and say, okay, we can't just do 10, 11, 12 of the best players. We're going to have to start looking at team construction and role players and how these guys fit together. Yeah, because they had a tough time against Serbia. They had a tough time against France. None of these games, well, I shouldn't say none of these games, but a lot of these games were not easy. And I think the Tatum stuff will actually be kind of looked back at as this is where the idea of how to put a Team USA together kind of changed.
I think that's possible. I think there's a few things going on here too, though. I do think that when you look at this team, right there was a very difficult needle to thread here, where you had all these guys who were on, probably their last Olympics. I mean, I don't want to count some of these ageless wonders out, but possibly their last Olympics. And obviously you want to make sure that they have a chance to show out and be the stars in their last Olympics, because they've done so much for their country in the past. I think it's the thing with Tatum that's tough, right? Is like it kind of cuts both ways with the amount of participation that he's done with Team USA, where on the one hand, you're like, how can you leave this guy on the bench and sort of disrespect, seemingly kind of, but maybe not even on purpose, but just kind of, disrespect him to a degree where it's like, wow, you can't even find minutes for this hyper versatile forward, who can defend a bunch of different positions and do all this stuff offensively. And at the same time, you talk about like not bringing Tatum along. It's like, well, but also Tatum has done so much for Team USA. It would be tough to not bring him along and not give him a chance to win another gold medal because he's done so much for Team USA in the past. So
of course,
it kind of becomes this tricky thing. And I think some of this might start to resolve itself kind of organically. Like if you look ahead to the next Olympics, it's like, okay, you can kind of go down the list of guys and it's like, well, I don't know, Tatum, Bam, AD, guys who, those guys will probably be around, and maybe some of these older guys might start to age out of the Olympics a little bit, and that might make room for other guys who complement Tatum and, AD and Bam and whoever else, right? Like, or Derek White and Drew Holiday seem like they pretty decent fits for Team USA. I wouldn't be surprised to see them back in some capacity. But I think this felt like a very talented team that was kind of very clearly like, okay, we're giving these guys a last dance of sorts in the Team USA. And if something comes back, great. But like, I mean, when you watch LeBron be LeBron, and you're just like, this is amazing. It's fun to watch this one more time. When you watch Steph just dance and do the Steph stuff, and it's just,
oh my God,
close the game out the way he did. It's like,
oh my God.
I mean, Jayson Tatum is a just genuinely awesome basketball player, but like also sometimes the Steph magic is just, it's too good. It's really amazing.
Steph shots, the Steph finish to the gold medal game. The last shot was insane. Not only was it insane, it was over two people, it was fading away. It was, a mile high, that arc. You had Kevin Durant and LeBron James wide open on the other side of the floor.
Part about that shot,
and Steph's like, nah, I got it. And he hits that shot. And you're like, what did I just see? Yeah. That was incredible. But Tatum, okay, understandably in that moment, Tatum was going to be on the bench. Like, I wouldn't have put Tatum in. I wouldn't have had Tatum in over those three guys. Yeah. They were playing amazing. And yeah, you kind of roll. I understand that Tatum's role on this team was different. And did that open him up to a couple of DNPs? Sure. To which Tatum said afterwards, I got this via the Boston Globe, but he said it was kind of out there everywhere else. He said, I can't lie, it was challenging, especially after the experience of the highest winning a championship and then put in a new situation where you've never been in that spot before. But I didn't want to make it about me. I got a chance to come to work with 11 other guys I got nothing but love and respect for, and we won, and I'm happy about that. So Tatum admits this was not easy. This was not a hard, this was a hard thing for him to do. And I think we'll get into the motivation stuff later, but it is kind of a good reminder that nothing's given to you. Nothing is promised. Doesn't matter who the hell you are, unless you're LeBron, Kevin Durant, or Steph Curry. And that's it. Like, Tatum is not those guys.
And nothing was given to those guys either. Let's be clear. Like, those guys had to go out and take everything that they've.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so Tatum, it is a reminder that, you come off of a championship and what are they going to say now? And I guess we'll never know and all that stuff. And by all means, go celebrate that stuff. I wonder if him coming in late after the celebrations, because Team USA camp had opened and he came in a little bit later. I wonder if that played into a role of like, okay, you're behind everybody, if whatever. I don't want to go down that road too much. But Tatum said, like, this was challenging, and it's beyond the motivation. It is a good reminder that after even if you win a championship, very Joe Mazzulla, like, nobody cares. It's very much like hammers that point home, like, hey man, you just won a championship. You just proved everybody wrong. Like, yeah, after a couple of weeks, nobody cares. No, and it's so true to have that. Like, he needed the nobody cares shirt. Derek White should have worn the nobody cares shirt after they won gold, because damn it, Joe, how many times are we going to say it on this podcast? Joe Mazzulla was right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, it's like, again, you kind of talk about like nothing is given to you, right? That championship wasn't given to Tatum either. You know, it's like it keeps coming around. You know, it's like, just because you won it this time doesn't mean that it's going to be there for you the next time. You have to do all that same stuff again and again and again and again. And like, it's hard, man. There's a reason it's so hard. There's a million reasons it's so hard to repeat as champions. There's you know, because you got to go do it again, and you might not be as hungry the second time. It's I don't know. It kind of speaks to some interesting stuff for next year too. But yeah, it's you're right on the money. Nothing's given, and a spot on Team USA is not given.
It's not given, or maybe he doesn't want it. That's maybe
he doesn't want it.
Maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe he's like, have it. Will Jayson Tatum be on Team USA 2028 in Los Angeles? Let's explore that in just a second. Today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. That's the formula for winning championships. It's also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors, eBay Motors is what it's called, has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Guaranteed Fit should be a Derek White kind of like why eBay needs to go talk to Derek White about being a guaranteed fit. That seems like a guaranteed fit. Hey, eBay Motors, you know, you're saving money. You're not burning rubber. You're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA. Make that your second listen. There's no off season in the NBA. Locked On NBA gives you daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. I got the Wednesday show with Jake Madison, so we are there to keep you informed and entertained on the Locked On NBA podcast. It's available everywhere you get your podcast, on YouTube. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Okay, let's get into Tatum's future on Team USA. This was super interesting, Tom, because he didn't say, oh, yeah, it's okay, man. I know I'll be back. I'm ready to go for the next time. I can't wait to win my third and maybe a fourth and catch KD. Blow it. No, he said, I am not going to make any decisions off emotions. If you ask me right now if I'm going to play in 2028, it's 4 years from now. I'd have to take time and think about that. Hold on. Wait a second. I'd have to take time and think about that, he says. Then he keeps going. I'm not going to make any decision based on how this experience was or how I feel individually. I keep trying to say I'm not making this about me. I know that's a storyline the last few days, but we won. Tom, he's saying it right here without saying it. It's not even really reading between the lines. It's just adding a couple of words that you know he wants to say. This experience and how he feels individually sucked. And right now his emotions are telling him very clearly that he does not want to play. He does not want to do this again. I think if he goes, if he feels like in 2028, is my role going to be the same thing it was in 2024? Because if it is, I'm out. And I think that's a huge part. Now, I don't know if Steve Kerr is going to be part of this thing. If he's going to be like, I don't want to play for Steve Kerr. So if Kerr's making the decision, I'm done. Get somebody else. But that quote from the first segment and this quote just now, it's so obvious. He had a good time with the team and his players and his friends, but this was not it was not the experience that he thought it would be. It was not a completely like joyful experience from start to finish. He enjoyed playing basketball with guys that he likes, but he didn't enjoy being a part of this experience, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah, and I think a few things about that. One, he's going to play in 2028. You know what I mean? Like it's like
probably, but
here's the thing. He's like, I think what we're hearing here is him expressing the most displeasure that he is ever going to express about the situation. Yeah. This is the time when the emotions are the most raw, where you can kind of get Tatum to admit to something just a little bit. Because Tatum is not he's more open than he used to be, but like this is something that's a little bit more controversial. And I kind of think he's going to have a better, more polished answer by the time training camp rolls around and, media day rolls around and he gets asked these questions again. I think he's going to have probably a more compact, like sort of politically, solid answer. That said, I think, I think if you asked him right now, like, okay, yeah, do you want to do this again? It's like, yeah, I bet he doesn't. And I bet he really doesn't want to say that because, to your point, something about Jayson Tatum is that he really likes like numbers and like, accolades and things.
Legacy and all of that stuff. Like that matters. This matters. Absolutely.
Yeah, this would be big for, he's in a position where he could, start to like get up there with some of these guys who he looks up to and admires. And like, he could surpass some of them and get just a ton of gold medals. Like that's in the cards for him now. And I mean, that's not nothing. So yeah, I think he's going to play in 2028, but
I would think so.
But I do think that we are getting some kind of a sense of like, yes, I did not enjoy this. I'm kind of upset about this. I probably feel a certain type of way about this. And also, again, he's even in this kind of raw moment, he still kind of has that like, look, I am not trying to make this about me. This is not about me. I'm not happy, but like we won gold. Like he gets to the crux of it, right? Which is we won gold. We did the thing that we came here to do. And like, I can't really say anything about how we got there because it worked. If I think
that's right,
if the team had lost, then yeah, like if the team had gotten bronze, then Tatum would really have a case to be like, oh, I couldn't get any minutes on this bronze team, but that's not where things are. They won gold. He's got another gold. And
that's, yeah. And that, look, ultimately that's what matters. And you can't, we can say Tatum should have played, but you're right. They won gold. And
we did say Tatum should have played. We said it many times. And, but they won gold and they won without him playing a huge role on this team, so, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, look, he's 26. So the next Olympics, he'll be 30, still in his prime. 34 after that. Okay, tail end. He has a chance to make it again when he's 38. And that would be, if that's 3 more gold medals, that's 5. He has a chance to get to 5 gold medals. Yeah. And everybody made a big deal with Kevin Durant with the 4. So that's something that will certainly make Tatum think like, okay, I can't skip one of these things, because when you're putting a resume side by side and he looks at, you look at him and just say Kevin Durant, you're going to look at the points, you're going to look at the rebounds, you're going to get the championships, and he has a good opportunity to be kind of right there with a lot of that. And history you look at it and you say, man, Tatum's resume is incredible. He has a chance for 2 championships, 3, maybe. Like if he ends up with like 3, that's not a lot of 3 championship guys out there. So that's Hall of Fame. Like obviously he's a Hall of Famer, but he's going to be, but that's like, okay, is he in the Hall of Fame's Hall of Fame type of player? Like you're going to start being like, is he top 20? Is he top 15? Is he top 10? Like people are going to start having that discussion because you're going to be like, well, here's all his all NBAs. Yeah. Here's all of his championships. Here's all of these. The MVP thing is going to be where I don't know where that's going to fall. I don't know, but
regardless, um, the gold medals, all of that stuff, like you look at all of that, so you're like, wow, it's going to be hard to argue against Tatum, especially as you go further and further into history. And people are like, I kind of remember seeing him play. They're not going to remember some of like the little nuance between some of these guys. So anyway, yeah. So Tatum, there's no doubt that he's going to play, but I don't know if his relationship, I don't know what his relationship with Steve Kerr is going to be. And, we'll see. They might put on a public face, but he can't be happy with the way things went. And maybe Kerr just doesn't give a damn, but this go ahead.
Well, and I think there's a window here for Kerr to kind of reach out to Tatum too and kind of smooth things over. I think like if you're Steve Kerr, I think it would be a good idea to kind of like say, like, even if you didn't want to do it in the moment, right? Because you're like in the middle of something, you're kind of trying to do something here, and you don't like have a lot of time. Like if you, I don't know. I mean, I think if you're Kerr and you kind of reach out and say, listen, we had all these guys, I mean, not in these words maybe, but all these guys that you looked up to when you were a kid, they had one more, and I needed to make sure that they had their chance. And I'm sorry that X, Y, and Z might have happened. I hope you'll come back in 2028 and give this a run. I think there'll be a bigger spot for you on that team or something. Like I feel like there's a way to kind of smooth this over. I think if you're Steve Kerr, that could probably sidestep a lot of hurt feelings. But yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, and look, in 2028, 4 years from now, who knows what that team's going to look like. Like I just did a segment on Locked On NBA where we're kind of like trying to go through the starters and who might make that team, and Tatum and Jaylen will both have a real opportunity to play a big role on that team. But hey, you never know. Cooper Flagg could be like the next big thing, and Cooper Flagg could be the Cooper Flagg and Anthony Edwards show. And how does that fit with these guys? And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see in a few years. Well, actually, in a couple of years, because that's when the World Cup is going to be. So there'll be like another opportunity to. I bet Tatum skips that World Cup team.
I bet you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he skips that, and then we'll see about the Olympics. But if he skips that, then it's like, well, hey man, we're looking for a commitment from you. If you're going to skip that, then we might decide to go in a different direction because we can't rely on you. It's going to be an interesting dynamic. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes moving forward. Hey, by the way, congratulations, Jayson Tatum, with another kid. That was another thing. He came out of Paris with a gold medal and a baby. So
pretty good.
Deuce 2. I don't know. Electric Boogaloo. Let's speak to the motivation. His thing with Steve Kerr, and I've been saying it. A lot of people have been saying it. His quote about the motivation is super interesting. We'll talk about that just a second. Jayson Tatum, all of this stuff appearing in the Boston Globe, talking about motivation. And like, I've been talking about it. We've both been talking about it. And it's not just us. He said a lot of people texted me and reached out and were like, make sure this fuels you, which I appreciate. There's a lot of people that care about me, but I think the tough part is, yes, you can use the things to fuel you, but I'm still human, and it's still a human aspect, part of being in the moment. I sacrificed and I put a lot into this game and worked really, really hard. So again, the sting of the moment right there being like, I sacrifice. And I think that might be the biggest thing for Tatum before we get to the motivation. He's like, I just won a championship. All I want to do is go celebrate. But I said, no, I'm going to come and play and keep my commitment to Team USA. If I knew I wasn't going to be playing, like, yeah, maybe I would have gone and continued the celebration and could have started my off-season regimen and start working on my jumper and trying to like work out a couple of the kinks there or whatever. Like that, I'm sure there's a part of him who's like, I didn't need to be here not drinking. You know what I mean? Like I could have been at the game sitting next to Carmelo Anthony having a beverage, cheering these guys on, and like going to my next vacation destination and just celebrating. But that thing of people have been saying, make sure this fuels you, make sure it's motivation and all that stuff. He doesn't seem like he's like, yes, absolutely, I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind. And Steve Kerr, you're gonna get it. But people have been on him about that, and it's going to be very interesting to see where that goes, because I've been saying that I am really keeping an eye on Celtics, Warriors. The schedule is coming out anytime now within the next week or two. I wonder if the schedule makers are like, oh, Celtics Warriors, that has to be on ABC. Can we get that on a Sunday? Can we get Tatum versus the Warriors and like a 60-point Tatum game and like drum up the, Tatum DNP and have him do the ESPN sitting there with, whomever they Kerr and Tatum, maybe you get them together and all of that stuff. I think the motivation thing is there, but I'm curious to see how Tatum processes this, because I don't know. He doesn't feel like he's in that headspace yet.
I feel like there's a weird vibe with it where it feels like it's almost just kind of like a little disappointed, more so than just like angry, like, oh, I'm so motivated, like my motivation is motivation, like it doesn't necessarily feel like that. It feels more like just kind of like, yeah, I just want a title. I could have been doing other things. I sacrificed to come here, and now I'm just kind of like a little bit of a damper on what was otherwise just like a perfect summer, like just having like the best kind of summer, and then there's this, and it's just because it wasn't quite what I was hoping for, and like, it's like that's not like rip roaring angry, like go get him, like 60 on his head, I'm coming for you, like that's not what it, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe there's stuff behind the scene, but that's not what I'm really getting from all this. What I'm getting from this is kind of like shoot. I mean, we won gold.
Yeah.
I'm glad we won gold. Kind of wish it had happened a little differently. Still won the title. That's great. I'm really glad we won the title. Yeah. What it's like,
it
just feels
more
a little
sad than mad.
Yeah. More just kind of like, oh man. Like, and like, it kind of goes to what we've been talking about, right? Where it's like, hey, Tatum can be in the room with any of these guys now because he's got a title, and all that stuff is still true. And like, all that stuff being true might, to your point about him showing up late, that might be part of the reason why he didn't play that much, because he was too busy winning a title to show up for training camp. Like, it's like there might be part of that too. But then it's like, it's got to be a little bit aggravating when then you do show up and all these guys that you can now stand in a room with are all getting all the minutes over you and all the opportunities. And like, I feel like maybe just disappointed. I don't know.
I guess when you feel like, I've joined the club, and then you're still in line outside the club
where you were,
and the bouncer's like, your name again, and you're like, no, I'm not. You don't need my name on the list. It's I belong here,
and that's not. And I will say, I mean, what I would guess is that's like that might be the way it feels, but that isn't how it is. I would guess that it's a lot more about. He came to camp late because, understandably, he was doing other things real quick. Let me get my championship celebration in here. Like that, you've earned that. I would guess that it's more that than he doesn't belong in this club. But like when you're you had this big legacy, life-defining moment where you won a title, and things just didn't change that much the next time you were around those guys, and you were still kind of in that same kind of situation. That's like, you were still kind of felt like you were kind of in line in that same way. I wonder if that is kind of just like well, damn it, this sucks.
Yeah. So like it goes back to the championship too. And I'm going to go to the, I forget which podcast it was. Might've been the Carmelo Anthony podcast where he's like, I used to want it to look a certain way. And then once I got past that, I start blah, blah, blah. But okay. You still would like it to look a certain way.
Of course. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yes, Jayson Tatum won a championship and Jaylen Brown is the finals MVP. Okay. No, I'm happy for Jaylen. I really am. but I wanted to win Finals MVP.
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay, man. No, I'm very happy for Jaylen. I'm obviously you can't take my championship away. That's cool. Not a big deal. I'm just going to go to Paris. We're going to win gold. I'm going to be part of this gold medal team. Yeah. Okay. I not playing in this game. Okay. I kind of minimized role with 7 minutes here or there. Like,
now everybody's
right,
talking about me in this way that is
Yeah.
kind of uncomfortable and hurts my feel. You know, like
right. It's the big storylines out of this thing where, oh my God, look at these guys. They're so awesome. And Jayson Tatum didn't play. You're like, I wanted to be like part of the awesome discussion, but no, I still won my Olympic gold. And this was supposed to be the summer of Jayson Tatum. And like, he got a huge, gigantic $300 million contract. And like I said, he had a baby. Like life is great. He won a championship, a gold medal.
Pretty good for Jayson Tatum.
It's still like, yeah, everything's coming up Millhouse for Jayson Tatum, but it's not like it's not the storybook.
Yeah.
Right. It's not I led my team to a championship. I helped lead my team to a championship. Someone else got the MVP. I didn't exactly help Team USA win gold. It kind of was a bit player. They didn't need me. Tatum could have sat out every game and they would have won. Yep. And like, that's a tough pill to swallow when you're, like, man,
yeah,
just kind of wish it was different.
I mean, Tyrese Halliburton had the tweet about it, right? Where he's like, yeah, it's like when you were part of the group project that got an A and you didn't really do anything, but your name was on it. And like, it's like, I don't think that's what Jayson Tatum wanted for his Team USA experience, but that's what he got. And that's tough. Like that's and look, just not what you envisioned, to your point.
I'll end this with another Joe Mazzulla thing this is all great for Boston. Like, let's just wrap it up with this. This is all great for Boston because Tatum should go back and be like, okay, you know what? I do have to understand that nothing is given. Like I said before, I have to go out and earn this next thing. And you immediately got that lesson. And Joe Mazzulla is like, people laughed when I said nobody cares, but you just won a damn championship and you went to Paris as Team USA and nobody cared, right? And Jason's going to be like, yeah, you're right. Nobody cared. And how many times did I tell you success looks different? It's not always going to go the way you think, and you just got to roll with it. And what just happened? It didn't go the way you thought. So you know what you do? You take it, you process it, and you move forward, and you do the things you need to do to be successful moving forward. Yeah. And if anything, Joe Mazzulla can come out of these Olympics with Jayson, put his arm around Jayson, be like, everything I've been saying all year was just proven in 2.5 weeks right there. You come back for training camp in, a month or 6 weeks, and Tatum's, Joe was right. And nothing's promised. And you got to go out there and prove it all over again, because just because the same 14 or 13 of the 14 players are the same doesn't mean a damn thing.
Doesn't mean anything.
Nobody cares. And that's going to be when I write my next book for the Celtics banner 19, it's going to be Nobody Cared. That's going to be the title.
I think you're so dead on with that too, because like it's like Jayson Tatum doesn't strike me as having the Michael Jordan like motivation, right? Where it's like, I want to kill everybody that I'm playing against every single time that I'm out there.
That's right.
I want him to kill him.
That's not his personality.
Like, that's not Jayson Tatum. But if you tell Jayson Tatum, like, yeah, all of this, like this is all there for you, but it's going to look a little different than you think. It's not going to be storybook, and you just got to go keep rolling with it. You just got to keep doing it. That I think Jayson Tatum would do. Jayson Tatum will show up and do the work. There is no question about that.
No doubt about that.
He will for sure do.
He will work.
If he gets this evidence now that like, hey, you won a title and nobody cared, and nobody will continue to care, and all you can continue to do is continue showing up and doing the work and winning championships and just doing the things that you have to do to win championships, then you will build the legacy that everybody will go back and look at in 10 years and be like, 13 all NBA first team, whatever it is, like, whatever crazy thing it is, 2 championships, 3 championships, 4 championships. Like, you go out and build that legacy, you will make people have to care. And you can do that as yourself without being this, like, I'm going to murder everybody out in front of me. You don't have to do that. You just have to show up and remember that nobody cares and just keep doing the work. And I think there's something to that. Maybe Joe Mazzulla is just the perfect coach for Jayson Tatum.
It might be. Yeah. It might be, because this dude keeps getting proven right. Yeah. All right, Tom, appreciate you hopping on.
Appreciate you, man.
And I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate Team USA. I actually appreciate Steve Kerr for giving us these topics, because, man, he gave us something to talk about in the middle of August. And I think it's actually going to be meaningful this upcoming season. I think it's going to be something that drives Jayson Tatum. So we should all be thankful for this. I am thankful for you. If you're listening, if you're watching, however you're consuming this podcast, I appreciate you. I especially appreciate you if you're still here in minute 36. So thank you so much for that. If you're not a subscriber, please do that. If you are a subscriber, if you want to get into that YouTube page, get into that comment section, let me know what you think. And then I would love it if you shared the podcast and told everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.